ladies, and today I am joined by Vivian Osal, who is going to actually do my past life regression and hypnosis and all of that. I thought that before we get into that video, I could have her explain exactly who she is and what she does and how she got here and kind of the process of what we're going to do today. So why don't you go ahead and tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So nice to have you here, Haley. Thank you very much. This is a great opportunity to do this past life regression and have it on film. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself and what I do. So I'm an energy healer, I'm a channeler, and I'm a teacher. I've been a Reiki master now for about 14 years. I do Akashic record reading, do past life regression, which we're going to do today, and I do also angel readings.
What exactly is an angel reading?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So the way it works is I open myself up and I channel Archangel Michael.
Wow.
And then Michael helps guide the session. There may be some other archangels that come in into the session, depends on what's coming through. And you know, the angelic realm is right here for all of us. All you have to do is just ask. Ask for the angels to come in and support you. If you're going through a really challenging time, Archangel Michael, he's the guy with the sword. He's confidence and courage. He's the protector. And they all have like different roles that they play. And I work with Archangel Raphael a lot for healing. Archangel Metatron I connect to when I do our Akashic record reading. That's a little bit of a very different type of reading. Akashic records is a soul reading. So
that is so cool. That interests me so much.
That would be a very interesting session to record.
Definitely. Because let us know in the comments below if you guys want to see a part 2 with this type of thing, because that would be really cool.
Akashic reading, I'll just give you a little tidbit. It's the Akashic records are essentially like your book of life, and the Akashic hold an energetic imprint of everything that your soul has experienced. So when I do a reading and I open up your records, and the purpose for an Akashic reading is to set the soul free. So the soul wants to be in a state of freedom and joy. So the information that comes up is to assist you in this lifetime to create more freedom and more joy. So I might see things that are kind of like hooked onto you of this lifetime. Past life information also comes through, but in that reading, I'm experiencing your past life
rather
than you. Well, there's been times where other people have experienced it too while I'm talking, but it's like I'm doing the reading. I'm seeing it all. I'm opening all my clairs. So so whatever information comes in from a past life is very relevant to what's happening right now for you.
That's incredible.
So lots of different things to help people along the way with their, you know, spiritual development and awakening, to help people calm down. Kind of like one of my niches is to help people with high anxiety. And
hello. That's me.
Well, you know what, Haley, you're probably going to find that this session is going to help with that.
I'm very, very excited. When would you say that you found your gift, when you knew that this was kind of your purpose in life, and early on? I'm not talking like when you knew as an adult. Like, when would you say that it was the first time you realized?
Oh, thank you. That's a great question. Probably when I was about 4 or 5 years old. And I just look at the sun, and the sun for me was God. And I felt very connected to everything and everyone. And it was, you know, it was this pure innocence and curiosity and seeing energy off of people, off of everything, and seeing how everything was so malleable and flowing. And
did you notice that other kids weren't like that? Like that they didn't necessarily look at the world the same way as you, or did you notice that you were different? And
not really. I have a twin sister.
No way.
So I'm a twin.
Does she have like psychic abilities as well?
She's got psychic abilities. Absolutely. So I grew up we were always like telepathically talking.
I was going to ask you, because I've heard so many things about, like, one twin was kidnapped and the twin could see the same street signs that twin saw, and they found her. So I know that twins are very psychically connected in a lot of ways. Oh yeah,
we would have conversations just looking at one another. So I'd be like, oh yeah.
That is so cool.
So I kind of grew up thinking for quite some time that, you know, what she and I had and how energetically sensitive we were. I just thought that, you know, there was two of us, if everybody else is like that. But then you learn that not everyone's like that. Yeah. And, so yeah, I was very aware of it as a child.
That's incredible.
And honestly, and then, you know, life happened, and I was in that Catholic school up until grade 10, and that kind of was taken out, you know, the magic, the beauty, the oneness. There was a lot of separation that was created, that was kind of like, you know.
I think that's the problem where people are so anti-religion and anti-anything to do with this, is because a lot of times they feel like it's a very separating and not as open as you could be, as if you weren't identifying with a religion. And I think that was hard for me too. And even now I get comments from people saying, but you're Catholic, how can you be so open to past lives and this and that and all of these things? And I go by off of what I experienced and I believe in this lifetime. And for me, I'm just open to learning new things about my spirituality and like where I am and everything. And I think it's wonderful that you're doing this and that you're doing this as a profession, because definitely people need more of that.
I've been doing this work for about 14 years, and I actually came to it via another route. I started with Reiki, so I think Reiki found me, and I had a session, and that was very transformative. And essentially I got this message that said to me that I was to be the one on the other side of the table. And I started with my Reiki training, and that was tremendous, very, very special. It opened me up to lots of things about myself and learning about me, remembering who I was actually, because I've been someone since I was very little, very aware of other people's energies, and you know, actually learning to do Reiki taught me that, or reminded me that I used to read people's energies as a child. And so that was very exciting, kind of like reconnect to that. And so I started my journey with Reiki, and from there started my practice, and I started teaching people and giving Reiki sessions. And Reiki opens you up psychically. It opens you up in all different levels of who you are, and you're connecting to energies and for healing and so on. And my thirst to just get deeper continued, and one of the drives was I had done a number of past life regressions, and I was aware of past lives when I was a teenager. I think a lot of us are actually, like as children.
Yeah, I think so too. I think when you're a kid, you're more receptive to anything and more open to anything, and when you become an adult, people are always telling you that it's in your head or it's made up, and it takes people to a different place, rather than when you were a child, you're more open to believing things and seeing things. So I think deep down we all have that belief. I mean, that's my opinion, but some of us are just more open to it now as adults than others.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I actually work with a number of children, and I just love hearing their stories of what they remember themselves to be.
Yeah?
Yes.
They remember their past lives.
Well, I've met a dozen or more that have, and their parents will be like, oh yeah, and they talk about, you know, their time out in the fields, and they were a farmer, or they were flying a plane, and, or just like living in a particular area of the world. So lots and lots of things. So anyway, so fast forward, so I did a number of regressions when I was a teenager, and then when I got into doing this work, part of this journey of waking up is remembering who you are.
Definitely.
Took my training in past life regression. I went down to the States to learn, and I just love it. Because it's this really powerful tool that can be used to give us much deeper understanding about ourselves, about relationships. People are like, oh wow, you know, I'm going to get to see myself in a past life. And yeah, there's, you know, that's pretty cool. But really it's what happens after the session. So.
Do you want to kind of tell them a little bit about what has happened with your clients in the past after they finish their past life regression and they've come to you? Like what did it change in their lives knowing what they know now from their past life?
Well, that's a big question. It happens to a lot of people where it's a very profound effect. What happens afterwards. So we take a look at the reason that they've come in for this session.
Right.
And a lot of people come in is actually to work out relationships and have a deep understanding of the relationships they're having with their partner or family member, or even like a co-worker if there's like some tension and it's like this person really gets under my skin, and in fact they've never really done anything, and it's like the moment I met them.
So could it have been that they had some sort of problems in a past life and subconsciously that resonates in this life?
For a lot of people, yes. Wow. Absolutely. It's like,
so
you know, it's like I meet you, I recognize you, and maybe we have something that's unresolved, and then you say or do something, and it's like, and it just triggers.
So it's like soul recognition.
Yes, there's always soul recognition.
Okay.
So
that's interesting, because when I was little, I would always say that I felt like my grandma and I were together in a past life, and that maybe my mom was actually my sister and my grandma was my mom, just because of the initial relationship that we all had. And my mom was my best friend, and my grandma was like that maternal disciplinary like being in my life. So I think that's interesting too.
And I wouldn't be surprised. And we travel in these soul families, right? So
really, I've always thought that, but I never.
Yeah. So there's soul groups, which is like. It extends wider, and you know, maybe there's some like really close friends that you have or will meet, and you've had lives with them and they've been in the peripheral, but then there's the soul families, and like your mother and your grandmother and others, and where you've all played different roles. And you know, that lifetime you may be a female, or you could have been a male, and your mom was a man, and you know, and it was your uncle, or it was like the neighbor that was always there, you know. So in a regression, they show up in lots of different characters,
different ways.
So,
but do you know that it's them? Like, do you feel it maybe, or how?
Sometimes you'll know. So I'll ask you, you know, I'll ask you, do you recognize this person?
Right.
And you know, it's either that you do or you don't, and so you don't try to, you know. So some people you will recognize.
So I have a question for you before we get into the process. I've always wondered, is there a such thing as past life karma? So carrying, let's say you did something bad in a past life, or vice versa, or whatever it may be, do you carry that karma into other lives, or how does that work? Because I've heard a lot about people saying, oh, it could be your past life karma. Like if someone's having a life where everything keeps going wrong, sometimes people say that that's from something that happened in a past life. What is your stance on that?
My answer comes from my experience of myself in regressions, and certainly leading so many people through them. Absolutely, we do bring forth things from previous lives that aren't resolved, and naming them as karma it's part of our soul learning.
Right.
So things that are not resolved, things that maybe we needed to be in the opposite position in this lifetime, be on the receiving end. You know, I did a regression not so long ago with a woman who, you know, this is kind of heavy, but experienced abuse, like physical and emotional abuse. And we did regression, and we got into a couple of lives. Right. And in those lives, she was very different lives. She was both times male, and she was the aggressor. Ah, yeah. And it was intense, and you know, her whole demeanor, and this happens with some people when they're in regression, you know, their demeanor kind of changes. Right. That was very interesting for her to just come back to your question. It's like, what happens afterwards? It's like, so follow-up sessions that we had, you know, for her to see the perspective of the aggressor. Yeah. And what it was like for him to do that and say those things to someone else, and how the female was made to feel, was showing her in this present life what she needed to strengthen in herself. Right. And also showed her how it is to be on the other side, and how that person might be feeling, or maybe she realized, I don't know if that's the case, but sometimes
people who hurt people are hurting. So being that aggressor in that lifetime might have shown her maybe it's not the person who's being abused, it could be the person who is the abuser.
Right.
That is so incredible. So what's the process of what we're going to do today?
So I'm going to get you very, very comfortable. Right. So I think for the regression, it's going to be up to you if you want to stay in the chair, or I can have you lay down.
I think laying down will be
nice. Yeah, most people go for
relaxed.
Super relaxed. So that's the number one thing, is to just have you in a very relaxed state. And I'm going to use a number of hypnotic techniques that I just use to deepen you. What I ask from you is that you just follow everything that I say.
Okay.
I'm essentially guiding you down this lovely path to just relax and let go.
Yeah.
So it's very important that we get you out of your thinking, conscious, mind. Yeah. Where you're making decisions, where you question things. So essentially, I'm asking you not to question me.
Right.
If I ask you to deep breathe 10 million times.
Yeah.
You're just going to do it because it feels great.
Okay.
So it begins by just kind of guiding you into physically relaxing, and then I'll get into mentally relaxing you.
Right.
And then from there we take off.
Okay.
And then we move backwards in time, given your intention for the session. Yeah. So maybe we can talk about that.
Yeah. So when I had called Vivian and I was asking her if she'd be open to this, she was so awesome, by the way, you guys. I was nervous to ask somebody if I could film something that's so intimate between two people and so spiritual. I wasn't sure if somebody would be open to that, but she was awesome about it. And she kind of explained to me that you kind of have to have a direction when you're going into a past life regression, because maybe you have lived multiple lives, maybe you felt multiple different things throughout those lives, and if you don't have a focus, then you're not optimizing the opportunity to go back into a past life. And so she had asked me if I was wanting to go to somewhere that was more of a happy place, or if I was wanting to go somewhere where maybe insecurity and fear lived. And for me, she said that she had sensed that I had some sort of trust issues, which is very true, but it went deeper than this lifetime and things that I've experienced. It was kind of more of a subconscious, right from the beginning type of trust issues and fear and anxiety. And so she asked me if I would want to travel to that place and kind of see where that came from in a past life. And she mentioned that it might get deep, and she wasn't sure how much I wanted to share, but I wanted this to be as real as possible, and it's something that I would love to experience and to see where that comes from and hopefully be able to heal from that. So that's the intention that she's referring to when she says that's where we're going to head with this process.
Yeah, no, and that will be very deep and very meaningful to you.
Right.
There's a lot of us that have had or have trust issues. And using past life regression is this opportunity to actually kind of delve in and go really deep. And what I wanted to say, and then maybe you can do like a follow-up video to this on your own.
Definitely.
It's like what happens like after the session. So in the hours and the days after today, it's just like you're gonna notice that your mind does like a little bit of a rewiring.
Right.
Okay? And a little bit of a rewiring and a little bit of the connecting of the dots.
Yeah.
And because the intention is to take a look at some trust issues, so we're gonna see what comes up. So really what I'm gonna say to you is like, it's really important that you just trust how you experience things.
Right.
I may use the word see, like what are you seeing?
Yeah.
But for some people, they don't actually see like you're seeing me right now.
Right.
Okay. It may come to you in this feeling of just knowing.
Right.
Like if I said to you, a green apple, you know what a green apple looks like.
Right.
It might come to you visually, or how does a red apple come to you?
If it wasn't visually?
Yeah.
I don't know. You would taste it. You would feel like that. Yeah.
So you have a knowing of what a red apple
It's like
is.
when you want to say something, but you can't explain it with words. You can't convey what you're trying to say, but you know, like what you're thinking and saying. Yeah, definitely.
So information, when you're in the regression, it might just come to you this way. It's just like it's just a knowing.
Yeah.
It's really important that you just trust how it comes to you.
Right.
There's times when you're going to hear things. There's going to times that you're going to be a knowing. There's going to be feelings, or you will actually see something.
Right.
Or it'll be a combination.
Right.
And for first time, it'll just be like a knowing, and then all of a sudden you'll see it.
Right.
So just
be
flow,
open to the
just
process.
flow with it.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's like a mind screen up here.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a movie.
Yeah.
But if it's not, that's okay. It's not any less or anything.
I feel like
that.
for me it may be just because I'm a very visual person,
Right.
and I see things in my mind's eye a lot. I'm very even I dream every night very, very vividly, and I see it right in my head. So I hope, but we'll see. To me, I'm a very open person, so I'm excited to see how it comes. And definitely. Okay, so I think that hopefully this explained a little bit more to you guys as to what we're doing and what Vivian is all about, and I'm so excited. So definitely click that subscribe button if you have not yet, because the next video that I post is going to be my past life regression, and then after that video I'm definitely going to post my experience and the story of what I felt and overcame and how it changed me as a person in present day. So definitely stay tuned, and thank you so much to Vivian for coming on. I'm so excited to get started. So we're gonna go do the past life regression. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness, and until next time, love you.